It is said that you have been suspended, and I'd like to ask, I know that you have been kicking and you even used some very, harsh words against the State Executive Committee that purportedly suspended you, describing them as a gang of houseboys working for the Deputy Senate President, Ovie Omo-Agege. Where are we? Are you trying any reconciliation whatsoever, or are you taking this up formally in order to prove that you didn't work against the party and that you are still a member of the APC in Delta State? Where are we?
Oh, thank you very much. Anyway, this is not the topic I was told I was coming to discuss, but as usual,
if you can just start with that, just to clarify, based on the fact that you're doing well. Yeah, that's why we're starting with that. Okay.
Okay, very well. Thank you. Well, the issue in Delta is very straightforward. If we are talking about anti-party activities during the presidential election in Delta State, it is Senator Ovie Omo-Agege who did anti-party. He never believed that Bola Ahmed Tinubu will win the election. If you look at his posters all over the state, he had the photograph of P2B on all his posters. So the P2B's people, they had to go and be cutting them off. I have them here. You see, I'm not the one who pasted his picture there, and I'm not one of the obedient people. And if you recall, during the national convention for the primaries to elect the presidential candidate, of course, Omo-Agege didn't work for the president. During the main election itself, he didn't work for the president. He never believed that Bola Ahmed Tinubu will win the election. So, but as in everything, he called a meeting on the 11th, Tuesday, of his own faction of the party. And they lambasted him. They told him, speaker after speaker, that he is the problem with the state. And that he has handled the state in the wrongest way possible. And that for the state not to have won that election, that it was difficult to imagine. He was told to go back and think about it and come back with a solution to the people. If we describe, it's not just me, the leaders in the state. If you look at the people who, in his own fashion, his chairman, Omeni Sobote, is his political advisor in his office as the Deputy Senate President. One Felix Moka, I know many Nigerians, if you ask them, the National Publicity Secretary of APC, they cannot even tell you his name. And when you see him up on television, I don't know what to say about that, but I don't want to go into that. Is his legal aid in his office. Everybody on that, on his fashion executive, all of them, they work in his office as his political aides, legal aides, and all manner of things. You recall, I wasn't the one who called them his houseboys. The great son, the minister from Delta, Kayamo, described him as his gang of houseboys. And that is the truth of the matter. So that's why we couldn't do much in that election. Now, after losing the election, he now started looking for people to blame instead of blaming himself. And it's unfortunate. At times, when even though that I know him right from his days in the universities, we were in the university together, I would have said, this man is really a lawyer because the way he behaves. Apart from going to the National Assembly to go and carry maize in the public everywhere, look at the way he went about the campaigning in Delta State. He gathered very young, small boys and then placed them on top of leaders in every local government and every ward. Myself sitting down here, I don't even know my ward chairman. I don't know my ward executive. He has never brought out the list. And then he appointed somebody in my local government. There was no consultant. There was no primary. There was nothing. He sat down in his house and wrote the names of the people he wants to contest election. He said that in politics you injure people, And that after he has written the name, he will go around begging leaders. So he went around begging the leaders. Of course, leaders are no fools. Then he said he was going to depend on PDP people. How would you depend on PDP people? If you bring the PDP people, most of them that he brought, they were spies. So they worked against him. Anyway, I have promised myself I will not talk any further about Omo-Agege matter because he's not worth my speech. He's not worth anything to talk about. And I don't even, how do you wake up? You say you want to expel somebody, suspend. So there is a constitution of the party. It is Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have a constitution. So it's not, so you just ignore him when you talk about him suspending or expelling anybody. We suspended him. We followed the laws of the party, the constitution of the party to suspend and expel him, and we are going through it. In his own case, he didn't even know what to do. Because he lost the election, he went crazy. Is he the first person to lose the election? And in any case, Deltans wouldn't have, for any reason, hand him over Delta State. He's boasting now that he has done his own work, that he's going to the court to go and collect his mandate, that the PDP candidate are won, that he has many names. Everybody will have very many names. The one I was born, you know how we behave in Africa. They give you very many names. Even in this, when you grow, you even choose more for yourself. Like those I went to university with, they called me tallest. A lot of them, even when we left school, they don't even know my name. So that somebody has very many names. What is that? You think Delta State is not Imo, and the courts are not something you joke about, because there are a lot of arms in Delta State, and it's not something you can go and come and then an election that you have seen free and fair. If there was any fighting in Delta State, it was in his own ward where people fought. And the agents of the other parties, they worked out on him, and because he carried the materials, he hijacked it, went to his house to write the result in his own ward and in his own local government. How can that be our deputy Senate president? There should be decorum. I'm a medical doctor. I was trained. I'm surprised the way he behaved. So I don't want to even talk about it. You know, he's an American citizen. He can burn Delta. He does not mind. He will go back to America where his family is. So I don't want to talk about it. Please ask another question.
I was talking about the fact that last week, Tuesday, we do know that members-elect from opposition parties met and formed an alliance ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly in June. But that their aim was to determine, of course, the aim of determining the leadership of the parliament. Now we're seeing these opposition parties, PDP, Labour Party, and others currently combined are looking at about 163 seats, while the ruling party, APC, would have 162, with some seats waiting the April 15th runoff. Do you think that this in itself, this alliance of them coming together, might be an issue for APC if we're seeing an alliance with other opposition parties?
No, not at all, because parliamentary system is very different, it's conventional. First of all, it is the party with the majority that is expected by convention to produce the leadership of each of the chambers. And then the alliance we are talking about will not hold water because one, the alliance will not, it won't stand. They are going to, you know how interest it will balkanize the alliance. For instance, the people from Labour Party are much more likely to go with APC, and then the people with even NNPP are much likely to go with APC, because if APC is sure to keep its members in check, and once that is done, APC is sure to win. What APC needs to do, and which is what they are doing now, is to zone the positions properly. First of all, it is, if you take the Senate, for instance, it is believed that since, recall that even before His Excellency Shettima was nominated for the vice presidential ticket, I was here on this television, sitting on this seat, campaigning that for APC to be able to win, we need a northern Muslim to pay Bola Ahmed Tinubu so that APC can win. And that happened. So also it is now. The number one citizen is a Muslim. Number two citizen is a Muslim. And it is common sense, that the number three citizen should be a Christian. And I do not see, because I hear some northern Muslims are also interested. I can only appeal to them to shelve this plan, to allow this country to move in peace, not to do anything that can cause problem for the incoming administration. And here I have trust for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I know that he's strong, and then he will put his feet down, and then he will rein in the party, because party is supreme. Once the party gives its instruction, everything will follow. And as far as the positions are concerned, the Senate President, by the grace of God, and I do know, I don't believe anything will stop it, will be a Christian from the South. Where it will come from, whether Southeast or South-South, the party will determine. The party will look at circumstances guiding it. Because the problem of Nigeria today is how we are going to run a government to take care of everybody. Everybody. Number one, the biggest problem of the country today is the issue of revenue. I know that Tinubu has been able to manage these revenue resources in Lagos State, and even after that, it had continued. So if he brings his ingenuity, how he raised revenue in Lagos State, and then he can do it at the national level. Once that is done, and then there is enough money in the purse, then things can happen. One, the rate at which the population explosion in this country is very worrisome. So we are going to have a government that will cooperate with the National Assembly, that will cooperate with the presidency. Because if you have a National Assembly that cooperates and works hand in hand with the presidency, it is easier for you to succeed as a country and to move the country forward. So if the revenue is there and then it is not pilfered, one is to have the revenue. Two is to prevent pilfering. It's not that people, you put them in office, they go there and pilfer the funds. You start to pursue them. It's very difficult once money enters the hands of persons to recover. At best, you begin to negotiate with the courts and everybody to refund this, refund that. So I'm very sure that Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be able to prevent pilfering of resources. Once that is done, then there will be money for education. Because if you look at what is going on in the country, out-of-school children is alarming. So we must be able to put structure in place to one, education. Two, create an employment for the teeming youth. Because the idle mind is the devil's workshop. The issue of terrorism and the militancy and everything is as a result of youth who don't have employment. And the only way to cure it is to give these youth jobs. If you look at the last election, you can see that even the youth, if you look at the campaigns, that's why I respect Bola Ahmed Tinubu a lot. Look at the massive turnout in all his campaigns all over the country. They're all youth. They love him. So he must pay back this favor that the youth have done to him. These youths, they respected him and voted for him. They gave him the chance to prove, to do what he did in Lagos at the national level. So that at the end of the day, Nigerians will be better for it. When you look at the way that even medical doctors, the way all of them are escaping out of Nigeria to seek greener pasture overseas. If another beautiful thing, you see that with Tinubu, I was talking to some lawyers. They said, look, the judges in Lagos State, magistrates, if you give them appointment as court of appeal judges or Supreme Court judges, they won't go because they are looked after in Lagos. So Lagos was able to prevent pilfering of its funds. And then it was now deployed to the good of the people. And that's what is necessary. For this to succeed, the National Assembly must be very well organized. And anything that will cause crisis, we must avoid it. So I appeal to those who are asking that the number 3 citizen should be a Muslim from the north. I'm not bothered. I'm not a religious fanatic, but my fanaticism is about Nigeria. My patriotism for Nigeria. What will make Nigeria to improve? What can put food on the table for the youth? What can give employment to the people? How families can become closer, because closer ties and closer family will lead to a better society. Otherwise, there will be problem. So I assure you that the plan of the opposition, so to say, to come together and defeat the APC is a pipe dream. We are dealing with a leader, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who knows what time of the day it is, and I believe he'll be able to handle it.